After years in the spotlight, the Kouri Richins murder case is now moving forward. Richins is charged with the murder of her husband, Eric, in March of 2022.
Yeah, while the long-awaited trial begins later this month, jury selection actually starts tomorrow, and as that process gets underway, a 2 News investigative reporter, Arielle Harrison, explains what needs to happen in an effort to find an impartial jury for this very high-profile case.
Years of headlines, film productions, and online speculation.
It's about as long as I've ever seen.
This 23-page jury questionnaire with 99 questions is shedding light on the type of jurors legal teams on the Kouri Richins murder case are looking to seat and avoid.
Both sides are really trying to kind of get intrusive, and they're doing a very effective job at that.
Nathan Evershed is a former prosecutor and is not affiliated with this trial. With 20 years of experience working with juries, including selection, we asked him to look through the form the jury pool is being asked to fill out. Some of those questions ask prospective jurors about their primary source of news, TV programs regularly watched, bumper stickers, the groups they've donated money to, or whether they've been divorced.
What is typical is to ask questions, biographical information, family background, things like that. If you know about the case, if you formed opinions, all that is quite typical.
At what point did you notice they went from routine to really getting into nuances with the Richins case?
When they started getting into opinions about the case, when they started getting into backgrounds of like connections with like victim rights organizations, social media accounts, these things, you can see like they're really trying to get granular on this.
Last week, the judge denied the defense team's second request to move the trial out of Summit County, an area some question whether a fair trial is possible.
It's unique for the area. This happened in Camas, which is a small community here in Utah. Everyone knows everyone.
Melinda Ruth, an experienced jury consultant based out of Utah.
These are going to be community members selected to sit on this case and ultimately decide, right?
Exactly.
She says over a 5-day period, the court will collect data from the jury questionnaire in an effort to seat 12 impartial jurors as well as alternates.
It's called a voir dire process, and they have all the questionnaire answers, and then they have the jurors come in different panels depending on the numbers, and the judge asks them questions, and often the attorneys will have a chance to ask questions.
Also not connected to this case, if she were, Ruth would sit in the room as this happens, watching and making note of not just the written responses, but the verbal and nonverbal cues.
It's not so much even how they are responding to their own responses, it's also how the other people in the room are responding to the person responding.
She says both legal teams then go through a striking process where prospective jurors are removed for cause.
Meaning, like, if there is a scheduling issue, or it's just a blatant, like you have a hearing loss, or a blatant bias, someone involved in the case, you'll be struck and you'll be released to go home.
But it doesn't stop there. She says there's another set of strikes that is predetermined by the judge. Each side will only be allowed a certain number of those strikes.
There's a lot going into the selection process, not just of like, is this a non-biased juror, but they're thinking small group dynamics. A good prosecutor is going to be looking to get a group of humans together that looks like they could be cohesive in their decision making. Whereas defense is going to look for people that might be willing to stand on their own a little and challenge the norms.
Now, this jury questionnaire asks roughly 100 different questions within the 23 pages. Live on our YouTube page now, we walk you through some of the specific language of those questions and what they're really trying to gauge within this jury pool. Also, the issue of whether Richins will get a fair trial in Summit County. Tomorrow morning, be sure to tune in as our coverage on day 1 of 5 of jury selection begins there. Reporting from the newsroom, I'm Arielle Harrison. Back to you.